Are you scared? I am you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Haunting the Afterlife Radio. I am your host, Susie, and with me are my fabulous fellow hosts, Brian and Christina. We do not have Caitlin with us tonight, but how are you guys doing?
I'm good.
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Christina?
I'm doing good. Well, I'm excited for tonight's show. It's going to be amazing. How about you, Susie?
I am so excited to have these ladies back on our show. So excited. So, guys, for tonight, can a paranormal team solve a 40-year-old crime case involving missing children? Find out as we present our very fabulous guests, Fold Paranormal. Julia Siracusa, Rachel Rodbell, and Vanessa Hogle, right? Is that right, Vanessa?
Yes, it is.
I always want to mess that up. I don't know why. But
everybody messes it up. So that's okay.
I'm sorry. But together, let's dive deep into what some call the Legend of Cropsey, a.k.a. the boogeyman who lurked at the end of the block, and the shadowy figure that prowled the edge of the playground, responsible for the disappearance of several missing children. Now, these amazing ladies have been investigating this quote-unquote cold case, okay? I'm using air quotes here, with all their heart. They've even just released their own documentary about it. So let's get them introduced and hear all about their personal experiences regarding the infamous Legend of Cropsey. But first, just a few things real quick, as always. Please be respectful in chat and put all questions in caps, guys, so that way we can spot them out better. Also, grab your headphones and have them handy because we will have an EVP to play for you after break. So without further delay, let's get these lovely ladies introduced in alphabetical order. Please, ladies, say hi. So we'll start with Julia.
Hi. First name or last name? You made me think. Don't do that, Susie.
Hi, guys. What? Who's talking first?
I love you guys.
Have Julia, then Rachel, then me go. We'll go by first names. Julia.
Okay. My name is Julia Siracusa. A lot of you definitely would know me from the Horsefly Chronicles. It's a haunted location, Easton, PA, and Vanessa Hogle she did a lot of remote viewing for my husband Phil and I, and that is how I met her. So, Vanessa.
Oh, okay. That's how I met Julia, and then in turn met Rachel. Y'all know me. I mean, I have my own show with Mike Ricksecker on Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Haunted Road Media's YouTube channel. Got 3 books, published in 7, and this is what I do. I talk to dead folk. Rachel, what would you like to say?
I'm Rachel. I met Julia. How many years has it been? It's been a few years now. We crossed each other on Facebook. I saw that she was from Staten Island doing a case in regards to Staten Island, and we just started talking, and that's how it all began.
And that is threefold.
Threefold. Ta-da.
I know, right? Well, it wasn't that easy.
No.
It wasn't that easy. Julie and Rachel, I'm going to butt in here real quick. Julia was really interested in this case, brought me on, and then brought Rachel on because of her connection to it through her history, through Holly Ann being her childhood friend. This is a really tough case. It's a really delicate case, and it needed to be handled a certain way. And you had to have a certain combination, a certain chemistry between the people working on it in order for this to function right. Exactly. And we hit the jackpot on that.
Exactly.
You know, being able to have that chemistry and have that respect for each other, that we could go and do this and it was all an equal playing field, regardless of how well known or how long we've been doing this or whatever. It was always and will always be about Holly. Mm-hmm. And in regards to Holly, any other missing children that had anything to do with this Legend of Cropsey. Again, I'm using your air quotes, Legend of Cropsey. His name, Andre Rand, has been tied to many cases, but there's no evidence to any of them. So that's kind of what really drew us in, is the fact that sure, somebody's convicted, sure, somebody's in prison, but is the right person in prison? Not saying the person that's in there isn't guilty of something, but to assume that he's guilty of Jennifer and Holly based on no evidence is irresponsible at best. You know, because that means that whoever was responsible, if he wasn't, has been out there and is more than likely still out there to this day. That's what brought us all together, is trying to find out why this went down the way that it did. Why are there so many inconsistencies? Why will no one talk to us? Why is it so hush-hush? Why do they want to regurgitate and force-feed the same story down people's throats? Why is the people that should try to stop us not, if they believe that the verdict was correct?
We are totally going to talk about that a little bit later, like really get into that, because from watching your documentary, I mean, it was crazy what you guys went through with the way people are responding. And I know from even talking to you ladies about it, like now you're kind of being stalked and harassed, and it's getting kind of scary. But first, let's introduce our listeners and our chatters to what exactly is the Legend of Cropsey, because I kind of feel like some people are not really familiar with it.
That's these girls. They grew up there. Take it.
Rachel, you wanna talk a little bit?
Well, like growing up on Staten Island, there was always the quote unquote urban legend, you know, be home before the lights go, you know, the street lights come on, because there's bad people out there. You don't want to be taken. And this particular case just kind of sums up the reason why. There was a man kidnapping children. They were going missing, and only one of them was ever found. It was linked to a mental hospital on Staten Island, which was Willowbrook, due to the fact that Andre Rand worked there. What he actually did there was kind of up in the air, whether he was a physical therapist or an orderly or a janitor. You know, we found, you know, different things say different things. So that's kind of like the gist of it. You know, these children, some of them did have disabilities, but Holly Ann didn't. Not that we're aware of. So she kind of did kind of fit in with the other kids that were taken, because the other kids did have even a slight disability.
Yeah.
Julia?
And I met Holly Ann Hughes when I was about 5 years old, PS20, when I grew up. And, when she was just such a sweet little girl, but she was very sad. There was always something very sad about her, so it would intrigue me. And I just found myself, we were always playing together. There was a picture of her and I doing the school play. I don't know if you have that picture, but we were just always together and friends, and we hung out a lot in school because she lived in that area that in Port Richmond that wasn't so nice, and I was probably like maybe like 12 blocks, 13 blocks the other way. So she was like a school friend. So I would look forward to seeing her in school. That's where we became very close. And then one day she just never came back. And, I was 7 years old. And back then, the parents, they didn't tell the kids that much like they do now. Now, parents are very strict with their kids. They tell them straight out, don't talk to strangers. Don't get into cars with anybody. Don't take candy from anybody. Back then, it wasn't, no one really told us what happened to this little girl. I would overhear my mother talking about it to my father. I never really understood other than she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, years went by, I got older, and, I kind of like, I don't want to say forgot about it, but I kind of, moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was about 42 years old, me, my husband, Phil, and one of my friends were sitting in the living room, and the original documentary came on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was floored when I saw Holly Ann Hughes. It just all came rushing back. And then my husband actually said to me, when he started hearing about Jennifer Swagger, another little girl that went missing that has to do with this case, he's like, he told me he had a dream about her. He actually had a dream about Jennifer Swagger, and he described her to us. And I started researching, and it never really added up. So many things just didn't make sense. So I wanted to go down there, not that much experience. And I was like, I'm going down there. And Phil's like, okay, you can't go down there. I'm like, okay, I can't go down there alone. So I had to pick someone to help me. And I chose Vanessa. Something just clicked with us. Like she said before, we three of us have a very strong connection. And, I asked her, I knew that, she was very talented for the work that she did on my house. And she said, definitely, she definitely wanted to. It was just going to take a while. So it was about a year until she was able to get down from Oklahoma to Easton, PA, which is like an hour and a half from Staten Island. Mm-hmm. And then I met Rachel through Facebook, like she said, and I don't even know how that happened. We just started talking, and I brought it up, and I was like, "Do you want to help me?" And she's like, "Hell yeah!" And it was so amazing that we were both from Staten Island, so she knew all about it too. So we had a lot to bond with that, and that's basically how the three of us became a team. And I'll never forget. You have to understand, we never met each other in real life. These are three girls who are friends on Facebook, okay? Never met each other. And the minute the three of us came together in the location, it was like this. It was like butter.
Mm.
And
like for years and years.
it's like a high school girlfriend that you don't see for 20 years, and then you see her, and it's like, oh, like none of the years went by. It was really weird. I'll never forget Vanessa saying to me, "This is really weird. You have three girls who don't even know each other that can get along this well." Because it's for women to get along with each other.
Because let's face it, women are bitches. Okay.
And we are bitches, and we bicker here and there. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like sisters would, but we all love each other, and
undoubtedly,
that's how it all came about.
And Rachel had a really interesting connection that Julia and I did not even know about until we got to Staten Island.
No, I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, she didn't bring it up, and she needs to tell y'all what that connection is. That really, your hair stands up on your arm.
I didn't know this until we're in the hotel room. And told us.
Yeah,
well,
do tell.
Right. We were in the hotel room, and I think I had suggested watching the documentary that was put out previously, just to kind of like, get some refreshers. And we're watching it, and this certain scene came up about a best friend of Andre Rand's. And I said, stop. And we paused it, and I told them, I said, I haven't told you guys anything about this yet because it's kind of hard to talk about. I said, but I need to say something to you guys. And when I was growing up on Staten Island, I was about 8-ish, and I was coming home one night, and it had already gotten dark, so I knew I was in trouble. The street lights already came on. I was like, oh. So I was trying to hurry up and get home, and I was literally like right next to my house, right along the fence, and there was a gentleman coming the other way. Didn't think anything of it, and as we went to pass each other, he reached his coat out and tried to snatch me.
Wow.
And just, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I just ducked. I ducked and I ran as fast as I could around the fence to get home. And I'll tell you what, that's something, like, I will never forget that man's face. I will never forget what he was wearing. Never, ever in my lifetime. And when I told them about this, Vanessa handed me her sketchbook. And she said, I want you to just look through this. Just look through it real quick. And I was like, okay. So I start flipping through the pages, and I'm flipping through. And I just like I think I started crying, and I almost dropped the book, and I was like, that's him.
Well, you actually look like you're about to cry right now, so I definitely believe you.
It's really, it's gotten better when I talk about it, but she drew him. Like, that was his face. His face was, she drew him. And as we watched the documentary, there's a gentleman in the documentary that matches that picture, and that's him. Like, that's the man that tried to grab me. I know that's him. It's him. You just don't forget a face like that. When something like that
I drew it 2 weeks before I went to go with the girls.
Wow.
I had never seen the documentary.
Wow.
I'd never seen it. I didn't have cable or nothing like that. I'd never seen it. When Rachel stops the documentary when we're there, that's why it's important that the viewers know that picture was drawn weeks before I left. We get there and we're watching this documentary, and the man in the documentary that I would have no way of knowing would strike this type of reaction in Rachel is the man I drew in my book.
Yep. That was him. Absolutely.
And this was a person who was supposedly a friend of Andre Rand's.
Yeah, he said he was his best friend.
Yeah.
So did y'all know his name then?
It's in the documentary.
It's Robert something. And I know I've tried to look him up, and I think he's dead.
I was wondering if he had ever been investigated over this.
I want to say that it said he was.
Yeah, I think he was a suspect in Holly's kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
I
want to say it said that. Yeah, we're not positive on that, but I want to say it said that. But what's striking about that is you have an individual claiming to be Andre Rand's best friend when Andre Rand was known as being a loner, not social, and did not interact or hang with anybody. And then you have others who claim he's the Pied Piper of Staten Island. So it's really kind of bizarre. It's almost as if the people's stories change to fit what they think law enforcement or anybody along those lines wants to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're being fed that information. I'm saying that they're, whether it's notoriety, whether it's getting on TV, whether it's getting any type of perks or whatever, which we have our own feelings, the three of us ladies here, about certain people who try to take the limelight anytime Holly Ann or Jennifer's name comes up. We know how we feel about them, and what we think they're involved in. But that's what it seems like. Is it seems like the story changes to fit what is needed, not to fit what is factual.
Right.
Yeah.
And that needs to scare the shit out of people. That's what we're trying to get across. We've said it on many shows. We're not trying to exonerate Andre Rand. We're trying to get to the bottom of it, to find out why in the fuck so many people from 6 years old to 44 years old, different sexes, different IQs, different mental capacities, went missing. Only one body found, subject to question on that one too. But yet he's in prison and everything is supposed to be hunky-dory. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Not to mention that there is absolutely no evidence to convict this man for kidnapping or for murder. I mean, it's just eyewitnesses that, most of them were on drugs, and not credible at all. So there was absolutely no evidence to convict him. And like they said before, we're not trying to, get Andre Rand out of jail. He's not a good man. He's done terrible things. He's very odd, bizarre, and he's done things. He's been in jail before, and he belongs there. He deserves to die there. But did he do this? There's no evidence, and we want the correct people to pay the price for this, not the wrong person. So it's not about getting him out. It's about figuring out who did this to Holly and all these children.
Well, Nikki B in chat says she feels like, I think she's talking about Andre Rand. Feels like he was like an scapegoat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so they could get the case.
Yeah.
That was so they could get the case closed and make everybody happy.
Yep.
Exactly right.
He was an easy target too because he had ties to most of these kids. His aunt lives in the same apartment building as Holly, so he was there a lot. And someone said that they saw him walking with Jennifer. There was a witness that said that. So there was things
with
maybe
Thais. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And Thais, he was a janitor or something in her building or something like that.
I think it was Alice's building.
Oh, Alice. It was Alice.
Right.
It was Alice's building. Keep in mind, the person that said decades after the fact that they saw him with Holly Ann, Cha-Cha, this was in July 1980, what was it? 1981? July 1981. And they said they saw him and Holly get into his Volkswagen Bug. He had on a full face mask.
But they couldn't describe the mask.
Couldn't describe the mask, and there's no freaking way you're wearing a full face mask in July in Staten Island.
And supposedly she was the friend too.
Yeah.
She was supposedly with another child, which, where's the child?
Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, she was probably very young. But whatever happened to that little girl that she was with?
Nobody knows. That's just it. Every single thing is speculation. Everything. There is not one hair, not one fingerprint, not one drop of saliva, not one drop of semen, not one drop of blood, not a teardrop, not any clothing fibers, nothing to tie Holly Ann to ever being in that vehicle. Now, I know they weren't as technologically savvy or forensically savvy in 1981 as they are now. However, if there was any evidence to be found at that time, it would have been documented, it would have been stored.
It would have been held.
Tested
Exactly.
today.
I mean, if there was a little girl in his car, there had to be something there.
Yes.
You know, little girl's hair. I mean, I have nieces, and just because they're young, their hair still falls out and shut. And
I'm 47, mine falls out.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. Like little girls, it had to be something there. It just, like we said, it does not make sense.
Well, and let's go back to Jennifer Schwaggert's body. She went missing was it June or July? It was June or July. I think it was June. In 1987, and I believe was found at the beginning of August in 1987. So she had been missing for approximately 6 weeks. Double check that. Could be wrong. Don't have my notes. She was found in a shallow grave in an area that had already been searched twice. And when they took her body, they took all of the surrounding land that they could around her and took her body. They could not determine cause of death. They could not determine whether or not she was sexually assaulted. Nothing. So he's been convicted on 2 counts of kidnapping without evidence. Can't be convicted on rape. Can't be convicted on murder. Because there is one body. Can't say how she died. Don't know if she was raped. And then there's not another body. So he
said that. Something that I read today, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, please.
They found there was so much dirt on her that they did not take off, that it caused them not to be able to do a complete investigation of how she died. Does that make sense, Vanessa?
No, it does not.
I did the same research.
Yeah.
I read that today. I haven't, I don't know if I ever read that or maybe just forgot, but that's bizarre.
Right.
Basically, they had a body. They had somebody to convict.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing here, and I watch a lot of those crime documentaries, and I know Christina does too. And back in that day, and sometimes even today, I mean, it seems to be just a rush to find somebody to put away for the crime, so they don't make the community mad, so they can prove to the community that we got the guy, we got the girl, whatever. Everything's okay, right?
But that's where this gets tricky, because Jennifer was, I want to say, the last one to go missing. There was Hank before her. There was Holly before her. There was Thais. There was Alice. There were other adults.
Audrey?
Yes. There were other adults that were supposedly tied to Andre Rand. He was supposed to also be a necrophiliac, which is, like we've said it on many shows, you can't be a heterosexual, homosexual, pedophile, necrophiliac. I mean, you can be many things, but you've hit the psycho lottery if you're all of those.
Yeah.
Basically, okay? But so why this time? If he was suspected for all of these other kidnappings and could not find anything on him, and still could not find anything on him on Jennifer, why this one? Why be able to convict on this one? And then why, when Holly Ann had disappeared in 1981, why wait till 2004 to convict him on her kidnapping with absolutely no evidence other than, hey, it's decades after the fact. I'm no longer high. I can give you an eyewitness account.
And he was going up for parole for Jennifer Swagger's kidnapping. So what did they have? They needed to get someone fast. So they got him again and gave him another 25 years.
Exactly. And that's the point we're trying to make. This should scare you. It should scare anybody that has two brain cells to rub together to form a nice little spark, it should frighten the shit out of you. Because if somebody can be convicted on 2 felony counts of kidnapping and spend this long in prison, deserved or not, based on history, this can happen to any of us. And on the flip side of that coin, if he isn't the guilty party based on lack of evidence, who is?
Well, if it was Robert, hopefully Rachel's right, and he's, I hate to say it, but
Kick the bucket.
You know?
Well, okay. Now I have another question. Was there any other missing cases or murders after Jennifer?
That's a very good question, and we were asked that last night, and I'm going to give you a real quick answer. If you have just basically won the door prize, the get out of jail free card, because you have put somebody else in prison for crimes you did, and I'm saying for crimes you as in plural, multiple people did, because we are fairly certain you're dealing with a group of people here, not an individual, because the tastes vary way too much. You're not going to draw attention to yourself by dipping into your own Kool-Aid. You are going to go to the picnic party on the next block. You're going to go to one of the other 4 boroughs. And if you look at any of those cases of missing children from age 1 to age 18, they are in the tens of thousands over the years. Doesn't mean this one group did all of those, but I can guarantee you they did some. If anyone wants facts, go to CNN and look up their missing persons reports over a certain period of time. And I believe it was from 1999 to 2001, over 780 some odd thousand kids under the age of 18 went missing. Now I saw how big your eyes got there, love. Let me scare you a little bit more. Okay. Out of that 780 some odd thousand people that went missing under the age of 18, a certain number is allotted to custodial interference. A certain number is allotted to familial contact and abduction. A certain number is allotted to stranger abduction. Do you want to know how many that was out of 780 some odd thousand? Less than 200 was stranger abduction. The rest just walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rest just walked away. I'm saying no. No, they fucking didn't. They didn't just walk away. That's how we look at people under the age of 18 who disappear in this country, is they must have been upset. They must have been anxious. They must have been doing drugs or hooking. So you know what? I bet they're runaways.
It's so true. It's so true. I've dealt with it with my kids. Like when my son was a teenager, he ran away. Freaking, he was only like 14.
Mm-hmm.
And the cops were like,
away.
But the cops, like, I personally felt when my son ran away, I felt he was abducted because I know my son and I didn't feel like he had just run away. But when the cops came over, they were like, he's a runaway. Sorry, can't really help you. You know?
And let's be fair. Let's not slam on the cops too much, because I get it, y'all. It's a lot.
It is.
And they're killing themselves on the daily trying to do the job in the best way that they can. This is a community responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is hey, we live in this community. We can't turn our eyes to this. We can't act like we're not seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a community responsibility, and we all need to take it. Did it with my son. Educated him. We had passwords. We had code words. Nobody knew them. He knew what to do. And if anything happened to me, my coworkers, my friends, my family knew what to do. It is a community situation. My son grew up watching out for other kids because of how I taught him how to watch out for himself and other kids. It's what you do. Too many people turn a blind fucking eye, and they need to quit.
It's true. It's true. It really is true.
I'm done bitching. Y'all go ahead. I get really angry about it. I really do.
I think that your response is a good response. I mean, it should be everybody's response, you know? within the
And that's another
community.
reason why we were so drawn together, because we're all mothers of
Yes.
children, small children. I mean, so
Yeah. And
definitely hit
you
a
can't
nerve.
not feel for these kids. And especially, did we tell them the last time we were on here what douchebag on South Beach said to us about Holly?
Oh, I don't know. We had an amazing interview in Staten Island. Someone that actually, got in touch with us, and he was very connected to this case. I'm talking like family connected to the prosecutor of Holly and Hughes. And it was horrible. He was horrible. He was trying to send us the opposite direction of where we told him where we wanted to go.
He was leading us somewhere, and it wasn't for something good.
Yeah. So.
Believe us. Rachel and I had to walk away after he said this to us. We asked him, we said, why is there nothing in Port Richmond to honor or memorialize or do anything for any of these missing children? And this is a direct quote from a family member of the prosecution of Andre Rand. Holly Ann Hughes was a poor little white girl from Port Richmond. Who was gonna care?
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about that when you were on our show last time.
Yes. That was the response. Rachel and I got up and walked away because we were going to hit him.
Yeah, and he knew. He said to me, "Oh, your friend doesn't like me very much." I'm like, "Oh, well, she probably just really had to go to the bathroom." But yeah, I was just like left there.
I really didn't like him.
We actually told him where we believe Holly Ann is, and he was telling us, "No, you need to go here."
Okay, wait, really quick.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question, but first I want to let all the listeners and chatters know I have been putting all of their links in the chat thus far. But so you guys think you know where she is at?
Yeah.
Holly Ann? Because
yes.
Yeah.
Now, are you basing that? So you're basing that, of course, on your abilities, your paranormal abilities, correct?
Yeah. And the fact that she was talking to us. She
let
me
ask you guys really quick, because we haven't really gotten into that part of it yet. What exactly, how can you guys define your abilities, starting with, let's just start with Julia on alphabetical order. What is your ability, Julia?
I'm an empath and sensitive. I really don't label myself as anything. I don't say I'm a medium because I'm a sensitive. And that's my abilities.
And from what I know of you, Julia, from just knowing you like the last year, you're still working on building your abilities, nurturing, and just kind of, building on that.
I had blocked a lot of stuff out since I was a little kid because of the trauma that I went through in my house that I grew up in, because it was extremely haunted. I kind of just blocked everything out. And then when I was in my, mid 40s, with the help of my husband, we kind of I just started, things just started happening. We started planning some events here. I started meeting a lot of people in the field. And I just started, I was different. I really don't know how to explain it because it's still very new.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys probably just connected, and now your abilities are bonding. Yeah.
But I still, I kind of block the stuff out in my house because when you live there, you kind of get immune to it. So, somebody will say, "Oh, did you see that?" And I'm like, "No," because I don't.
And just to you guys who, our listeners and our chatters who are not familiar with Julia, I mean, she lives at the Horsefly Chronicles house, which we've had your husband on the show. And we had Yeah, like it's like super crazy paranormal stuff goes on there. Where I am like super surprised, knock on wood, that we haven't had any issues with tech. So
I know, right?
it's going good. No, I knocked on wood, so we're good. But yeah, you guys
it's
should
a very
look up.
well documented case.
Yeah, you guys should look up that on Facebook or the internet, the Horsefly Chronicles, because it's pretty crazy. Now, Rachel, what are your abilities?
I'm also an empath, and I don't really, like Julia said, like I don't really use the whole label things. I'm very intuitive. I guess they call that like a clairsentient of sorts. But here, I don't know, within probably like the last year, I guess I've been opening up more with dealing with a lot of different things with going on, with dealing with this case and stuff. And I've seen a lot more stuff recently than I ever have. So maybe I'm opening up. I don't know. We'll still have to see. But for now, I'll go with an empath.
Yeah. So kind of similar to Julia, where you're kind of growing your ability right now, and being exposed to the paranormal community, of course, is going to be a big part in that, helping you to do that. So, yeah, I totally, yeah. And then what about you, Vanessa? I know you've got some crazy stuff you were telling us about drawings you did. And tell us about that. How does that work with like the drawing and the paranormal?
I get to be the asshole because I have
Vanessa.
Okay. Automatic drawer, automatic writer, got all the clairs. They call me a psychic medium. I prefer I just know shit, and I talk.
Wait, you have all the clairs. You have all the clairs. Wow.
Yeah.
She's got all the.
I only have like 2, so I admire you for that. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I'll share.
Well, for those of you out there who don't know what all the clairs are, talk a little bit about that.
Clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant. Oh gosh, I forget the names of them. I see them, hear them, feel them, smell them, talk to them.
And they talk back.
They talk back a lot.
Potty mouth.
Okay. Sometimes they are in corporal form, full-bodied, not apparition, as if my son is sitting right there on the couch right now. Yeah. They could be sitting there on the couch right now talking to me. Sometimes they are in mist form. Sometimes they're in ball form. Sometimes they show themselves like they're in a sepia picture. Sometimes it is, I could be sitting here right now and I can see an entire movie of what's going on in my head while I'm talking to you.
Wow.
I'm not special. I had a traumatic brain injury when I was young, and I actually think that helped tremendously in opening me up. These particular abilities run in my family, but I think that helped because I kind of got the mother load. I still got this scar right in there. I have scar tissue on my left frontal lobe.
So what exactly happened?
I had my head stuck in a German Shepherd's mouth when I was 2. I stuck my head through a 150-gallon fish tank when I was 2. I drowned at the bottom of the pool and had to be resuscitated. I fell and cracked my skull open. What else did I do? Shit, I did it was a bunch of shit. Yeah, I almost died a few times.
Did you have a nickname?
Penelope.
I figured it'd be after a cat.
Right? But my seizures didn't start until I was 20. So that happened when I was 2, and I started having petit mal seizures when I was 20. And I went in and had the whole, is it an EEG test? I think it is, with the probes on your head and the strobe lights and everything. And that showed that I had a fairly significant amount of scar tissue on my brain, on my left frontal lobe, right where that head injury was. And so I'd never had my head looked at before. Maybe I should have. But I did for that. And it kind of, I personally think that explains a lot of it. You know, I would rather give credit to that than to just say, hey, I got this.
Well, I've heard that before, that, horrible head injuries could definitely make your gifts even stronger.
Yeah. Well, and going through trauma makes your gifts stronger. I mean, we've all been through our share of trauma. And I think that really does make things stronger. It makes you more susceptible to spirits talking to you because you get it. You know
guys, and let's not forget, they're now saying that those who are like serial killers or who have that killing need also suffer from brain injuries. So also interesting to note. But in the case of, what we're talking about now, so I mean, it's interesting because like whoever did this, but when you look at Andre, that's his name, right? Andre, kind of doesn't seem very, how should I say this?
Bright.
Yes.
I don't think he's a Rhodes Scholar, no.
No.
But just because somebody looks like their family tree doesn't branch doesn't mean that they're an evil person. I mean,
there's a picture in chat right now that says "Fuck Cropsey." I'm sorry, it's sarcasm.
Yeah, true story. That was there on Willowbrook property.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the way he looks, but it's the way he talks. Because like he just seems, and you guys said he's guilty of some things. So
he is, but some of the evilest people we've ever met. Rachel can attest to this. I know Julia can attest to this. Some of the evilest people we've ever met wear suit and ties all day long.
Yeah.
Like they stepped out of GQ.
Yeah, but they're still saying that those kind of people still could have suffered a brain injury when they were younger. And they still seem like when we go to, like serial killers, a lot of them they're really smart. They have super IQ, but they've done, they've looked at their brain and there's something missing, or something damaged in their brain that is kind of being the reason why they don't have empathy.
You generally, when you're talking about a brain injury like that, you're talking about the right frontal lobe. The right frontal lobe is what controls empathy, compassion, decision-making, any type of emotion that we consider inherent. That comes from the right frontal lobe. So it would have to be specific to that. From my understanding, I'm not a doctor. I'm medically and dentally trained, but I'm not a doctor.
It's true. I mean, it happened to my son. My son is 14, and he, we weren't. I always thought he was autistic on the spectrum, but he kind of like grew out of it, his tendencies, and then he fell, and he hit his head, and then ever since then it's been like a total different child. The behavior has been different. Everything's been different about him. So it's been. Then he was diagnosed with on the spectrum of autism, and after that head injury, he was very different. So it is true.
Yeah, you can run into the same thing with tumors.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
We are showing some pictures right now on the screen from Willowbrook, from your guys' investigation there, Willowbrook. But really quick before we go into that, because we're coming up to our break here in about 10 minutes, but I still want to ask you guys, so knowing your different talents that you have, how you feel like you know where Holly Ann is and where she is.
Girls.
Well,
hopefully
we got a lot. I got a lot of help before I even went down there to Staten Island with them, from a little spirit who's in my house named Sarah. You know, my husband and I, we did get quite a few. You know about Sarah, Susan.
Yeah.
You had Jill on your show. She helped us a lot, directed us. So I kind of knew a lot going down there, and that had some to do with it, a lot to do with it. You know, spirits work together as teams, which we didn't really know. You know, that was new to us, how spirits can work together to give you the answers that you need.
Yeah, out of 40 some odd years, I never knew that was possible. Didn't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, talk to us a little bit more about like how all of your talents are contributing to that. Because I'm really curious. I mean, I'm still learning like you, Julia and Rachel. I'm still trying to learn about how my gifts can help to help kids who are missing and stuff like that. So, like, let's say you guys know where Holly Ann is. What do you guys expect? Like, for her to come through on EVP and tell you? Like, and then you're going to go to the police and say, look.
Well, our whole plan is, if everybody has to watch the documentary, because it explains so much. And, you know, I just lost my train of thought. Vanessa, you take it from there.
Rachel, first, do you have anything to say on that?
I was just going to no, you can go ahead. You're really good at explaining it.
Okay. Well, all we did was the most important thing, regardless of what your ability is. Okay. The most important thing is all we did was listen to ourselves. And then we listened to each other. Rachel had things to add that I didn't know. Julia had things to add that me or Rachel didn't know. Then I had things to add that they didn't know. And what we did is, it's kind of, when you're talking about something like this, it's really a puzzle. And spirits don't sit down with you and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and lay it all out for you. They don't do that. Holly gave Julia clues in her home in Eastern Pennsylvania. She gave me clues in my home in Norman. She gave Rachel clues in her home where she was living at. And we all melded those clues together and started not to put together a timetable, but to put together an instance table. Okay, so you were shown this, so what does that mean, and how does that connect to what I was shown, and so on and so forth. And we kind of just followed that like a map while we were there, and it ended up leading us to fresh kills. Now, when people
Which, by the way, guys, that's the name of their documentary. I just posted the link in chat. Check it out after the show. It's an awesome documentary. I've watched it twice now. Love it, ladies.
Well, and thank you. We do want to apologize right off the bat. We had so much footage we could not use because of a mistake in the configuration upon filming. We're learning. Be gentle with us. Our hearts were in the right place, and we just were unable to use as much as we wanted to. So that when we are able to do this again, it will be much better and hopefully more conclusive based on what we can show you. But as we followed this map and put things together, and it led us to fresh kills, that is when we couldn't pull out EVP recorders because, again, everything that you could think of to interfere with our investigation was right there. Like I said last night on the show, perfectly mowed grass was being mowed again. It's pretty bad when you're running a mower over it and nothing's flying out.
I remember hearing that so many times from you when I was watching the documentary.
There were no leaves to be blown anywhere, yet leaf blowers were everywhere. Okay, so we pulled out that little not the EVP, the K2. Thank you, the K2 colorful thingy, and Holly would light it up for us, answering questions, and she took us to right where she was. And when one of those things would come up, she would retreat. Hold it. She told me a minute.
Rachel, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So are y'all planning on going back?
We want to. It's just not easy. We do all this on our own dime.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to because, like she said, a lot of the footage was we just couldn't use for a lot of reasons. So hopefully we can and make a second part to this documentary.
And we
Yeah,
would
and
just
you guys-
clapper with it.
Are
And
y'all
what-
afraid that you'll be followed when you go back?
We won't be vocal this time.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I would worry about for you guys. You guys, for them finding out you're coming, and some of this stuff, I really researched a case here, the Morgan Nick case, which I'm sure Vanessa knows a lot about. And so, yeah, they'll put a hush hush on you pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, we were followed, stalked. I mean, every restaurant we came out of, there was a cop car sitting there beeping at us, and
Rachel's fiance was followed.
yeah.
Well, didn't they show up at one of your guys' like at the motel or something?
Yep. When I was
Yep.
outside filming a live feed, they
They knew
pulled
what they-
in and went past me, going about 5 miles an hour. Pulled it, got all the way to the back of the hotel, turned around and backed into a parking space, and sat there and watched.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
George,
we were
Rachel's fiance was followed by two what appeared to be government-issued SUVs.
Wow.
Isn't that right, Rachel?
Yeah, he had to go through like 4 different like housing developments to finally lose them.
It was
Yeah.
it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. So, I can't remember, Susie, what I was saying when you had to step away. Can you refresh my memory?
No, I can't. Sorry. I had to go. I thought I heard my daughter screaming.
But no, okay. So no, what I was saying is we were there at Fresh Kills with the K2 meter.
Oh yeah, that's right. And
Holly
then
was responding
wind
to our questions.
Mhm.
And when the lawnmowers would come past, when the leaf blowers, those non-leaf blowing motherfuckers would come past, she would retreat. Then when they would go away, she would come back.
So
And
what
she-
kind of responses was she giving you?
She was going all the way up to red. When we
Yeah.
would ask her, Holly, is this where you're at? Is this where you're at? And it would go bleep, 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 like that, just lightening up. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know a whole lot about that technical shit, but they don't do that.
No.
Okay. They don't do that. And she would do it upon request.
Yeah. And to answer the question before, because I just completely lost my train of thought about, what we want to gain from this. I guess we just want people to know, where we think she is. We believe she is 100%. Could we get the cops to go there? Probably not. But we want people to explore this area and to think about it, because what Fresh Kills is, it was a landfill where it was the garbage dump. Everyone from everywhere would bring their garbage to Staten Island, and that's that's what Staten Island was known for too back in the day, the dump where they would dump bodies. So that's our whole goal with the documentary, and hopefully the right person will see it and say, hey, this could be possible.
We don't think they're ever going to find her remains. Let's face it. They covered up the dump and it's now a park.
It's a park now. So,
yeah. We don't think they're ever going to find her remains. We don't think there's ever going to be justice. But we want to open up people's eyes and say, come on now.
Think about this place. Think about
this is your neighborhood.
It would have been to put a body in there. And, my father was the foreman of the sanitation. And it took me a long time to ask him, to get the balls up to ask him, how easy would it have been to throw a body back there? And his response was, well, it would have been very hard, but not impossible. So,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure there was planning there.
Yeah.
I'm sure Vanessa picked up on a lot of stuff, other stuff there.
She's not the only one there.
Yeah, other deceased people.
Yeah.
It was just, it was like Willowbrook, the forgotten.
Yes. Yeah, she was not the only one there. I don't believe the photograph we got was Holly. That was somebody else watching what we were doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, Vanessa, I know you said you were a psychic. Have y'all ever like talked to a psychic about going out there?
No.
Out there? No, but if we get to go back again, we're going to take Gwen Clapper with us. And she and I have worked on many cases.
And she's the one who put the documentary together. She's our editor, producer, and she did a great job.
Yeah.
And it was hard for her.
Was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really hard for her because there was, like we said, there was so much footage that was lost, and she just had to keep converting to get, everything the right way. She had a vision for it, and it didn't work out the way she wanted it to, but it still came out amazing.
Exactly.
Well, we're at the top of the hour right now, so we're going to go ahead and go to break. When we come back, we'll go through the pictures again, and you can talk about them.
Okay, I'm going to go tinkle.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, and we're on break.
Okay. Gotta go pee.
I'll be back.
Are we on?
We are live.
Shit.
Welcome back, everybody, to Haunting the Afterlife Radio. Vanessa, you cracked me up. We are talking with the amazing three Fold Paranormal. Now, can a paranormal team solve a 40-year-old crime case involving missing children? And specifically, we are talking about the Legend of Cropsey. And so, anyways, I lost service like right before, like 5 minutes before break. So I'm not sure like what you guys were talking about at that time. But take it away, whoever.
I love these
Oh my God,
you three all just like took it away.
Go. I was being sarcastic, so y'all go.
I know that they said about showing the pictures and us describing or telling everybody what they were. The picture that's up now it was actually on the grounds of Willowbrook, the part where you're not supposed to be.
Yeah. Rachel, you got to tell them how we got in there.
So a little birdie said, "Do you guys want on Willowbrook property?" And we said, "Well, of course." Yeah. And he said, the birdie said, "You got it." And about 20 minutes later said, "This is where you go in." And we were in.
There's a big, huge fence. You can't get in that
far wire all the way around it. Yeah.
So we had to have it snipped. So
you had it snipped?
No, the birdie snipped it. We don't know how it got done. The birdie did it.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll never say who it is.
I don't know who. It was a birdie.
Wasn't this birdie? Okay.
It was none of us.
So basically, you guys, so let's just remind the chatters and the listeners that you guys actually went on an investigation together to Willowbrook.
Yes.
So, which is where you guys feel like a lot of this happened, right?
No, not that. That's the kicker. Let's specify that.
Yeah.
Did people die? Some did. Did people die at Willowbrook? Yes. Yeah. Have there been transients and druggies and other people that have died on that property? Absolutely. Patients from the hospital? Absolutely. Could some of these disappearances have happened or had been taken onto Willowbrook? Definitely a possibility. Do not believe Holly Ann was.
No.
As far as Jennifer goes, I personally, and I think the girls agree with me on this, she was placed there post-mortem.
Yes.
That's why it says they found her in a shallow grave that, and Vanessa said before, that they searched a few times.
Twice. Yeah, at least twice.
And they had cadaver dogs also.
Yes.
With the searches.
So how did they not find her the first time when she was in a shallow grave with her foot sticking out?
So, I mean, we're not saying that none of them happened, but no, not it would be irresponsible of us to say that yes, this is tied to Willowbrook, because then we would be doing the same thing that everybody did, is assume because Andre Rand had a campsite or two on Willowbrook
and
that all of these were tied to it, and they were not.
What about weren't there tunnels that?
Yes, but those were used by many, and were used by many afterwards.
Yes.
They were used by many afterwards. Like I said, transients, homeless, druggies, kids on the kick. Hell, I almost went down in those bitches. These girls had to pull me back.
Oh, God, I can't wait to go there.
Yeah.
We'll go there soon.
Gary.
Yeah.
I want to go now.
It's a horrible place.
Yeah, they use the tunnels for like not so great things.
Okay, so the next picture's up.
That's inside one of the buildings that we went in.
In Willowbrook. So
That's
in Willowbrook, there was something really interesting that happened that didn't have anything to do with the case we were there for, but paranormally speaking, it's significant. And Julie and I were upstairs. Rachel was behind us. Okay. And I'm just filming with my camera. And there's no light source aside from the sun outside. This is during the day. There's no light source. There's no electricity. There's nobody hiding up there.
Wait, I want to interrupt you really quick.
Yeah.
Guys, chatters, listeners, if you watch their documentary, you will be able to see what Vanessa is describing right now. So please watch, and it's really amazing. Even I, as a paranormal investigator for, like 10 years, I can't really decipher. I can't really debunk. So go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah, it was a really emotional place for all three of us because you can't deny the second you step on the grounds all of the horrible things you feel. There's not one warm fuzzy.
Yeah.
There's not one warm fuzzy on those grounds. It is despair, it's filth, it's sadness, it's loneliness, it's hunger, it's every emotion that you hope you never have to feel right there. And I don't know how many square miles or half miles or whatever it is of that property. It is seeped into the soil. It is absorbed into the brick.
Well, when you were doing the documentary, as soon as you guys got there, all of you were overwhelmed with this sense of death, and just in awe and wanted to cry.
Yeah,
I could sense that from you guys.
Absolutely,
especially for me because I went there. I mean, I lived there my whole life.
Yeah.
Stepping in Port Richmond as an adult and being different now and growing into my abilities, it was so different than passing by there in my 20s. Mm-hmm. I mean, the feeling, it was just so sad. The whole area where she lived was so sad.
The drive into Port Richmond, I almost threw up in the car.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was that overwhelming. We weren't even on Willowbrook yet. And it was that overwhelming. But again, not solely, let's be very specific. When you're talking about somebody with abilities, any one of us, when we're affected like that, it isn't just that case. Mm-hmm. There's so much in that area. It's kind of like walking down the main street in Edinburgh, Scotland. You can't throw a stone and not hit a dead person. It's kind of the same situation there on Staten Island. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Just like in Virginia, they're everywhere. When you have the hush-hush mafia kills, dumping bodies, missing kids of Staten Island, to the plague of Edinburgh, to the wars on Virginia soil, you can't not get something. So I can't specifically say that the reason I felt so nauseous was because of this particular case. It could have been
exactly.
Mm-hmm, but exactly. When we were going upstairs into one of those buildings on Willowbrook, we had a light anomaly, a ball of light that was hanging out in the upstairs. It is not a flashlight. It isn't a glare from anything. I'm using my fucking cell phone, for heaven's sake. Trust me, a big old light on it,
Well, from watching the documentary, one of you, whoever was recording, can't remember exactly who it was, panned to one side and then went back and it was still there.
Yeah, exactly. Hovering.
And all of the windows are bricked up. There's not glass or anything.
At least in this area.
Yeah, all of the windows in this building were bricked up.
There was no source for this light. And when you see us getting out of there, when people watch the documentary and it shows that, or if they go on to Threefold's YouTube or my YouTube and see the different clips, it wasn't that we were afraid. We're not afraid. I trust me, I've been in way worse shit than this. And so is Rachel, and hell, Julia lives in it, you know. It isn't that, it's you can't decipher these emotions when they hit you all at once. It's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. And I think it was Geraldo Rivera who said it best when he did that undercover expose of Willowbrook. He said, I can tell you what it looked like. I can tell you what it sounded like, but I can't tell you what it smelled like. Imagine that hitting every one of your senses at once. It's too much. I've done this I'll be 47 on Thursday. And by the time I'm 47, I will have talked to dead people for 45 years. It was too much. So I'm not a wuss, but I'm also not stupid.
I get it.
To get out of there.
Yeah, I get it. And I totally forgot about that show that I watched with Geraldo too. Like back when you guys were on our show last time, I watched that whole thing, and yeah, very powerful.
Because he is what really got it closed down. It wasn't right away. It did take a few years.
Him and Robert Kennedy.
Robert Kennedy. Yeah, but he didn't do anything about it, and
I thought he tried.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if he tried. How could he not have done something about it? He was a senator. He had pull. How did he not try? So an unknown reporter got in there. He got in touch with that doctor that, got him in there undercover. And few years back, it was closed down because he just went full force with it. He's a reporter, so he had that all over the place, I'm sure. And eventually, it got closed down after that. Thank goodness.
Well, and the other important thing to document is, when we're talking about Willowbrook, in conjunction or separate from the Cropsey case and the Holly Ann Hughes case and the Jennifer Swaggart case, is Willowbrook, there were very good people who worked there that did what they needed to do on the daily to try to make this work, even though they were overstaffed by a couple of thousand. Over patient load by a couple of thousand, understaffed by way too many. There was, I think the caretaker to patient ratio towards the end was 1 to 50.
Yeah,
it's too much.
I remember that. Yeah.
But what people need to realize is there were patients when Willowbrook closed down, those patients had to go somewhere. Not all were just let loose. Not all were let loose to be transients. Some had to go somewhere. And there were 4 that were relocated to a halfway house in, I believe it was White Plains, so in upstate New York. Out of those 4, it was either 2 or 3 that were in the active process of suing Willowbrook or the owners of it or whoever was in charge of that due to their treatment when they were there. All 4 died in a fire at that halfway house. All 4.
Wow.
What's important about that is I believe, I can never pronounce his name, but it's the author that I believe wrote Soul of a Cop. He used to be a New York City police officer that had been called to Willowbrook many times. And after he retired and wrote this book, he wrote about instances when he would show up at Willowbrook and he had found explosives, flammables, body parts, everything in storerooms of Willowbrook.
They were using these kids as experiments. I mean, they said that they were actually shooting them up with what is that called, Vanessa? Yes.
I think was the one that I had heard about.
Was it hepatitis?
Hepatitis.
And
don't quote me on
much. Yeah, I know it was a disease, and they were purposely, giving these kids. They were making them eat, other children's feces that were contaminated with this disease, and
they were lab rats, is what they were.
To see exactly how they would react and what would happen to them. It was just horrible.
You guys just gave me jaw-dropping freaking like chills, and my stomach just got sick. I mean, that is just so.
But one thing you need to realize, this, as much as it pains me to admit, this was the norm.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
When you were put into a place like that, it was not talked about. You didn't discuss it. If anyone did show up for visiting hours, things could have been made presentable. But what happened when family wasn't around was a completely different story. And unfortunately, during this time, if you had a child that had anything wrong with them, anything that would make them even remotely difficult to care for, doctors encouraged you.
They manipulated them, the parents.
Yeah. Put them over here. They'll be taken care of. Your life won't be burdened. It's not how it is today when we're like, oh, okay, my baby has that. All right, what we got to do?
No. This goes all the way back to like Victorian period and even before then, where somebody who might even just have the slightest of disability, even a handicap, was stuck in the attic, and left there to die. So,
in Victorian times, I would have been institutionalized.
Me too.
There was a boy there who actually escaped. I remember. Do you remember the research on him? I don't remember his name, but he escaped, and his disabilities were very. I mean, they were just so mild.
He works on Wall Street now.
See,
wow.
And he ran away, and he ended up at the police station, and he said, "No, I'm talking about someone different. I know who you're talking about, Vanessa. He's in a wheelchair. He has, I think, multiple sclerosis."
But as sharp as a tack.
Yeah. Yes, very, 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 very smart. So there were a couple of people there that did not, like she said, they were just, the disabilities were very minor. And one of them, I remember, ran away, went to the cops and said, "I'm being abused. Please help me." And what did they do? They sent him back.
Yep.
He was a boy. He had blonde hair. It was a black and white picture. Rachel, do you remember that?
Oh my goodness. I know who you're talking about.
Do you know? He went to the police station and they ended up sending that poor kid back. And there was never any more research on him of what happened to him.
Yeah. I can't remember his name offhand.
Throwaway kids is how they were perceived. It's sad.
Yeah. Well, guys, do you guys want us to play your EVP really quick, or do you want to talk a little bit more about the documentary first? So what your investigation there? Play. Brian, are we ready to play that?
Yep.
Okay, guys, grab your headphones because these fabulous ladies did capture EVP. You're going to kind of hear it without commentary at first, and then we'll give you commentary after, so that way maybe you guys can come up with your own conclusions as to what the voice is saying. But let's do this. Hopefully it works.
Okay, it's not pulling up. Let me see. There we go.
My girls, everybody filming right here. This is what we got going on, people. This is why we came here. This is what's been 1.5 years in the making, is getting to this place where the legend of Cropsey was given some weight.
Are y'all hearing audio?
And that's what we're trying to figure out. This is why we're here, is getting to this place where the legend of Cropsey was given some weight. And that's what we're trying to figure out. This is why we're here. Some weight. And that's what we're trying to give him some weight. And that's what we're... My girls, everybody filming right here. This is what we got going on, people. This is why we came here. This is what's been 1.5 years in the making, is getting to this place where the legend of Cropsey was given some weight. And that's what we're trying to figure out. This is why we're here. Is getting to this place where the legend of Cropsey was given some weight.
Is the audio coming through?
And that's what we're trying to figure out. This is why we're here. Some weight. And that's what we're trying to give him some weight. And that's what we're... My girls, everybody filming right here. This is what we got going on.
Yeah, I can go ahead and transition to another picture.
Okay. So guys, yeah, what do you guys think?
Us or them?
Well, let's ask the chatters first. Did you guys hear the EVP, or what do you guys think it's saying? While we wait on the chatters to respond, why don't you guys kind of tell us what was going on before you captured the EVP? Like, give us some context of what's going on.
Well, we had just like gotten onto the grounds of Willowbrook. We had to climb up a little bit of a hill and gotten up to the buildings when that happened.
We were all in shock, I would say. We were just overwhelmed trying to get our thoughts together, and you hear us a lot, you know. I'm like me probably crying. Vanessa's saying, "Oh my God," and we're just so overwhelmed when we first got on that ground. As anyone.
Yeah. We didn't know we got that.
No.
We didn't know. We had no idea. We didn't know until that night that we got that. We couldn't hear it with our own ears. We didn't know. And if people go and they watch that full clip, it's on Fold Paranormal and on my YouTube page. It's like 16 minutes and 23 seconds long. That's a Class A one that's on there. There are so many more. The heavy breathing that you hear is not me. It's not me. It's not Julia. It's not Rachel. You can hear other chatter. It's not us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can hear that when I listen to the whole clip in its entirety. I can definitely hear a lot of chatter in the background, but I also hear, it almost sounds to me like a woman saying something like up close to your mic, and I don't know. I don't think that was one of you guys. Didn't sound like one of you guys to me.
The whole darn clip's an EVP.
Yeah.
But we didn't know.
Also something really, I'm going to describe it as dark. That's kind of like talking through also.
Yeah.
Saying stuff here and there. Like, it's not a constant. It growls a couple times throughout the thing. But there's something pretty dark that kind of like slips in a lot.
Yeah.
Throughout it.
It's really all over that land. It really is. And it's, unless you've been there, it's really kind of hard to explain, but it's the second you get through the fence and above that hill where we were at, the second you top that hill, it's oppression. It's just oppression. It is, everything gets heavier. Everything gets slower. And it's just, it's like you're walking through Jello.
Yeah.
Best
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
Oh, never.
Things just stick with you forever, and will be forever planted in my head.
Was there somebody in? It looks like there's a little girl in the window on that picture.
We've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What is that? I'm looking at it right now. What the heck is that?
We've heard that a lot. That's just it. And a lot of people didn't realize that Willowbrook had young kids, older kids, adults. There is no shortage.
They had babies there, because I remember my friend's mom used to work there, and Vanessa knows who she is, and she worked there, and she helped take care of the babies. Now, she didn't report any abuse, or she didn't see anything. I've asked her numerous times. Her mother actually worked there a long time, and from my knowledge, they didn't see anything, but they were working in with the very little babies, like little babies, 6 months old to a year. I don't know where you can find a disability in a child that young to throw them in there. I don't know. Even I just don't get it.
Was this picture like anywhere where the light anomaly was captured?
No.
It's not? Okay.
No, this was one of the first buildings. The light anomaly was taken in, like from where we came in. This was one of the first couple buildings. The light anomaly was like kind of like in the back by where the office was, where we went in to where like the offices were.
Yeah.
Which were very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were horrible.
But
and
not
building was
bad like patient bad. Not bad like patient bad. Like because in the patient in where there would have been patients, it was the sadness, despair. In the office building, like where a doctor might have had his office or something like that. Remember that was around the Cropsey. Yeah.
I remember everything you picked up in there.
It was awful. It was overbearing and evil. It was almost like the person who inhabited that area, at least one of them, enjoyed what he did way too much.
Yeah.
And that's the picture that we're showing now.
Yes, that's the light anomaly that we caught.
Yeah.
Was that the building they were trying to get you to go down to the tunnels, Vanessa?
Yeah.
It was after we came out of that one.
And they were trying to get her to go down there, and she was, and we stopped her, and she actually stopped herself, I think, more than maybe we stopped her. She was just like, no, she just caught herself because she wanted to go down there.
I learned my lesson after Virginia. Yeah. I like to not get beat up no more if I can keep from it.
Now the picture
And
that you have up,
that's the tunnels right there, right?
no, that picture is actually where they have turned those buildings into part of the College of Staten Island.
Oh, he's got a different one up there.
Oh,
That's-
yeah. That's
the other section. Oh, and then that's back at the section we were at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy. Sorry. I hope I'm keeping up with them.
That was horrible.
Yeah, I just put all of your personal links in chat, guys. Also, your threefold page in chat. I've put your documentary in there several times, and I'll put it in there again soon. And then I'll be putting some more links in chat soon, but just to get you guys in the know about what I've been doing.
Okay. Yeah, I saw those. I'm sitting there looking at it. Yeah, it was. I if I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to make us sound all Billy Badass, because we're not, but it's not something I really would recommend.
No, it was very dangerous. You're not welcome there.
Okay, this picture.
Ooh.
That was one of them leading down to the tunnels, I think.
Yeah.
There are multiple entrances. Multiple entrances.
Oh.
You guys are talking about how hard it is, like, on you spiritually to go there, and I get that.
Oh yeah.
But it was also really difficult too. And we could talk more about these pictures, but I just wanted to say this before I forget. It was also very hard for you guys just to be there because of all the crap other people were giving you guys.
Yeah.
And now apparently you guys are being stalked and harassed, and even from doing radio shows.
Yeah, we had one of our hosts that we were going to be guest on called and threatened not to have us on, or something bad was going to happen to him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've talked about too, the funny thing is, yeah, other people don't want us doing anything about this. Other people are trying to discourage us. We were stalked while we were there. We've been threatened since. But the people who are staying quiet are the families.
Yeah.
Not one family member of any of the victims has reached out to us and asked us to quit. Not one.
And one of the Holly Ann had two brothers. And one of them is in our group. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't talk. I've tried messaging him, and it's I don't blame him. It's really hard. It must be really hard to be dreading this all up 36 years later again. So I don't blame him, but nothing negative. He's in there and he's watching, and never did they ever say anything negative to us.
Not once. And I think that's encouraging.
Yeah, it is.
If anyone should be asking us to quit, it's the family. If they feel like the actual person responsible has been put away, they would ask us. And if they asked us, we would, out of respect, I believe. We would be like, okay, we won't bring up this name anymore. I mean, it's out of respect. I get it. Julia gets it. Rachel gets it. That hasn't happened, and this has been going on. We've been talking about this and working on this since
it's like
the beginning of 2017, if not a couple of months earlier. That's how long this has been going on.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person that seems to go against it is somebody that should not care that we're looking into it.
And here's another interesting thing. The people who live in Staten Island have been the worst. The actual community of Staten Island. They've been mean, nasty. I, joined many Staten Island groups to try to get the word out there. Have a lot of friends in there, and they've been the meanest. You would think the people from Staten Island would be the more understanding and more open to hear what we have to say, and nope. They
at all.
They treated me like crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I remember one admin from one of the groups said to me, "No one cares because it's not their kids. Nobody cares because it's not one of their kids."
Wow.
And I asked him if I could share something in his group, and he told me yes.
It's just the way it's what we were talking about earlier. It just doesn't make any sense. Nobody wants to accept responsibility for why this continues to happen. Why there are tens of thousands of kids that go missing every year. And I'm here to tell you people, don't for a moment convince yourself that they're all being put onto little boats and heading overseas to some sex shop somewhere. There's not enough boats to put tens of thousands of kids on them and ship them off somewhere. Your monsters are here.
Yeah.
Your monsters are here. Do some end up over there? I'm sure they do. But your monsters are here. They run your churches. They run your corner stores. Yeah. They run your banks. They drive your taxis. Some of them put out the fires in your home. Some of them are your local police. Some of them are your teachers. Never assume you know somebody because you're not behind their front door. There's some freaky shit going down in Staten Island, and there has been for decades.
Oh, yeah, before the bridge was even built.
There's some freaky shit going down there. And people have tried to talk about this in the past, and they've been silenced.
Yeah.
It's a fact. They've tried to talk about it, and they've been silenced.
Yeah. There was a woman who came forward when this all first started happening. She was a medium, or, she had her own group too, and she was put on a hit list because she was basically saying a lot of the things that we're saying now. And she was put on a hit list because of it. I think she passed away from natural causes. But yeah.
It's scary. But we're scarier.
Yeah, we don't care.
There you go. Don't back down.
Yeah. Don't piss off a mama.
Oh, yeah. Don't piss off a mama. You're exactly right with that.
Yeah.
Well, we only have about 50 minutes left, guys. Brian, Christina, do you guys have any questions?
I'm good.
Christina?
I'm good. I just want to know when they're going back, like personally.
Well, we could talk about that. We could talk about, for the remainder of the show, like, what are you guys doing next? Like, what are, your plans in the horizon, as far as this goes?
Right now, we're just promoting the documentary, and we really want it to get out there and people to really understand and open their eyes, and then hopefully we can get down there. Like Vanessa said before, it's hard. It's not easy. I'm only an hour and a half away, and it ain't easy for me because I have really no one to watch my kids, and so I couldn't imagine how it's difficult it is for them to get down here, living so far away. And Rich, we're gonna work on it.
Yeah.
And bring Gwen.
Yes.
Yes. So that
all of us. The dream team right there.
You guys need to talk about her. Sorry, you guys need to talk about Gwen a little bit because she was the one who put the documentary together. So
let me take this one. Let me take this one.
She likes to take the hard.
Let me talk about my Gwen. Okay. My Gwen is my girl. She went so far above and beyond what we could have ever asked anybody to do in putting this together. It was not easy based on what she had to work with. And she deserves all the kudos in the world for that. She is a stellar investigator, an excellent documentarian, a great videographer, and a medium herself. And Gwen and I are actually doing a documentary in Ireland in July that I'm trying to raise funds for the airline tickets because we have everything else covered. And I've reached 800 of my $3,000 goal in less than 5 days. But she's so good at what she does, I can't imagine anybody else doing this with me. And she's with BPI, Beyond Perception Investigators. Their videos are on YouTube. I've done extensive investigations with them, 2 different trips to Virginia. And please go and check out their stuff. She fucking rocks. It's my girl.
I love how Vanessa just explains everything.
We like it too.
I think they just like I use the word fuck a lot.
We like that too, yes.
It was really funny on break. My boyfriend came out here and he was like, yeah, her language kind of stands out a lot, gives a lot of attention. Okay, I also just added, Vanessa, in chat your link to your books. Do you want to talk about that a little bit really quick?
Just real quick, because I don't want to take up too much time for the others, but my books, Soulscapes, Giving Up the Ghost and Walking with Ghost. Soulscapes sucks. Don't buy it, okay? Giving Up the Ghost is a parabiography, and that is my life up until a certain point and how I dealt with these abilities and how I worked through them and different investigations I did with other teams. Walking with Ghost is a compilation of the time after that up until a certain point that includes a lot of investigations in Virginia, Scotland, England, with not only BPI, but with NP Paranormal out of Sheffield, which is now known as Knox Paranormal, NOX. I've investigated Sailors Creek, Hollywood Cemetery, Revolutionary House, Grace Dew Priory in England, Old Queen's Head in England, the dungeons in Scotland, Mary King's Close in Scotland. Not full-on investigations, but readings while I was doing it. Had confirmation from different groups there verifying my information. And that one, Walking with Ghosts, has letters from different people that I've investigated or remote viewed or automatic drew for that tells their experience with working with me. And I didn't change one word. If they was to write me a letter that says, Vanessa, You suck big old donkey balls. I would have put it.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
I would have put it in there. I didn't change one word. So if it's missing a period, I didn't put it in there. Okay. True story.
You just gotta love her.
I'm still cracking up at donkey balls. I'm sorry.
We're
I'm
used
still
to this. I'm laughing at the expressions on your faces.
I think people's favorite is holy fuck nuggets, Batman. That's like my go-to, but we stuck with donkey balls.
Oh, okay. There you go, guys. That's Vanessa.
My son's, I'm sure, over here shaking his head, probably, but yeah, bless you. Mama loves you. Okay.
I miss my son. He's 23, going at 24, and I miss him so much. I see all your posts.
16 going on 40.
I just see all your posts on your son, and I just have to say, it just makes me miss my son because he's finally got his own place, stable job, and I miss him so much. So
Get over here.
I love it.
Come over here, say hi to everybody. Get your ass over here. Come on. Come say hi.
He lets her pictures because mine won't.
Say hi.
My handsome fella.
He's handsome.
Ain't he though? And talented.
He is very talented. I've seen it. Yes, he's very talented. So anyways, okay. Well, so we've got what's going on with Vanessa. Rachel, do you have anything going on you want to talk about?
Not too much actually. I've just been kind of working and helping doing some more research with this stuff. I do have one thing that I am working on for this case, which is a letter out to Andre Rand himself.
Whoa.
I think I'm about done with it. It's kind of short, sweet, to the point because I want to reach out and to see if he will respond. So that's going to be going out soon.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Cross that we actually get a response. So,
well, you know what that means, guys. If she does get a response, we're gonna have to have another show.
Yeah, I will let everyone know as soon as I get it. You guys will know. I promise.
Oh, so because there's been so many people that reached out to him, and he just won't talk to anybody. Even the people who made the first documentary.
Right.
He wouldn't talk to them either. So
well, what happens if he wants to talk to you in person?
I was gonna say,
you know what? If he wants to talk to us in person, we will make the trip. Absolutely. I will make that trip. I will make that trip.
I bet
I would be scared that he would make us come down there and then be like, I ain't talking to them because he's done that before. But it would be a try.
It would definitely be worth a try.
I have a funny feeling that he's going to want to talk to y'all in person.
I'll do it. That would be awesome. Because you can lie to people over the internet. You can lie to them in a letter. You can lie to them through a text. It's real fucking hard to lie to us three face to face.
Yeah.
That would be the answer to everything, just for us to see him.
And rest assured, if we did do that, if any one of us meeting him face to face felt he actually did do this, don't think for a second we wouldn't come on here and say, you know what? He might have been wrong.
Yep. Absolutely.
We would do that. It's not about us being right or wrong. It's about facts coming to light and people figuring things out and thinking for themselves and not just believing what they're told.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very much.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Julia, what do you have upcoming?
Well, I mean, if you guys want to know more about the Horsefly Chronicles, you can definitely research that, or you can look it up. I have groups. You could just follow me on Facebook. You could definitely have to follow through Fold Paranormal. Definitely watch the documentary. I can't stress that enough, because we can sit here and we could talk all night long, but when you're watching it, you will feel like you're there and you'll be able to experience everything that we experience.
Exactly.
Watch it, guys. I've posted it like a million times in chat. You guys need to watch it.
You won't get bored. It's just overwhelming from beginning to end.
I love it. I honestly have watched it, and I've watched it twice now. And I mean, when you first told me that it was coming out and you gave me the link, I was so excited. Because I know the last time you guys were on the show, we were talking about how that was coming out, and it was a huge deal. So I was so excited to watch it, and me being, I don't want to say a fan, but just really enthralled with the whole Cropsey thing, and also with you guys after getting to know you, I was really excited to watch it. So it's amazing, guys. Got to watch it. And where your fund's gonna go, if you guys, talk about that a little bit really quick about.
Yeah, if we're able to make we did want to try to sell this documentary, and use the funds to create a memorial for these missing children, because there's nothing out there that remembers these children that are missing. Nothing. We can't even find a grave for Holly Ann. But unfortunately, it wasn't, like we said, there's a lot of footage that was lost, and we couldn't do that this time. But if we do it again, that is the mission, and hopefully it will get done.
And absolutely.
That is a great mission. What, Brian?
I'll go ahead and leave this picture up for the rest of the show.
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
Guys, that is a great mission, and just keep going.
Yeah, we were talking about, obviously not charging that much, but you can actually see somehow where your money is going to. Like, that would be the goal, to raise money for something for them.
Yeah,
they deserve it.
They do. And you know what? You ladies are amazing, and thank you so much for taking your time to do this, to pay attention to these missing children, and to put your energy into this. I mean, I really do mean so much, and I really wish we had more like a million trillion of you ladies like to do this, because it's sad. It really is sad.
Well, that's to tie this back into the Ireland trip. I can't give away locations. I won't give away locations. But one of the main things I'm going to be focusing on there is injustices against children. So it's really important. It's very, very, very important to me.
And we will make sure and help you get that out there, Vanessa. And like I said, you're more than welcome to share on our Haunting the Afterlife page and Mr. Gang page and my personal page and everything. We're more than willing to support you for that.
I appreciate that so much. It's a stellar opportunity. I can't turn it down. I just got to make it happen. And if I'm able to do this and have it come out the way that I want to, that only lines us three plus Gwen up to be able to do an even better one for this particular case and be able to reach our goal of getting a memorial for these kids.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing. That would be so amazing.
It's what it's been about since day one.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Okay, guys. Well, we only have about 5 minutes left, ish. So I want to get some quick announcements going real quick. On 3/15, so this coming Friday, we do have a show. We have Deb Robinson in Australia of Twisted History Tours. This is going to be a really unique show because we're going to be tying in the paranormal with some really crazy, famous cases of serial killers. Right, Brian, Christina?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You know how I like serial killers.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting show because we don't usually tie in the two, but just wait for the promo video. You guys are gonna be blown away. And you know, the whole Twisted History Tours thing is super famous there in Australia, and you guys are just gonna really love this show. So Deb Robinson again this Friday. And I also want to remind you guys to please join our group page if you haven't already. I'm going to put that link here in chat really quick, along with if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe. Please. And then we got some group shouts really quick. I want to make a special group shout to the Horsefly Chronicles, which is Julia's page. And I'm gonna put that link in chat. You guys, I love her page because it's no drama. Very cool about sharing, very supportive in the paranormal community. I mean, it's para-unity, right, Julia?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so awesome. Do you, Christina or Brian, have any group shouts, Facebook group shouts?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Paranormal Investigators Townsville. They're the same way. They're pretty much no drama. They support para-unity, and that's what it's all about. Integrity.
Exactly. I love that group page, by the way. That's one of the ones I share to a lot too. What about you, Brian? Do you have any you want to do?
No, right now I would just like to say that if anybody wants to contribute to Vanessa's project, what she's got going on, or to the Legend of Cropsey, and can't get a hold of the individuals to get that to, you can always get a hold of us, and we can put you into the right direction to talk to these wonderful ladies and help them out. Go out to their pages, like and support them. They are doing something that is just absolutely amazing, and they're doing it from their hearts. These, like I said, these ladies are amazing. I wish them well. I'm even going to contribute some to actually both causes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's one of the things amount doesn't matter. Amount doesn't matter. Somebody sent me a message today and they're like, I've only got $5. I'm like, love, that's $5 I didn't have. Thank you.
Exactly.
And that's like with the one that I'm doing in Ireland, whoever contributes, whether it's $1 or $10 or $100, it's listed the same, because every penny counts the same.
Exactly.
And they'll be listed in the credits, the special thanks to credits for that as being contributors to it. The same for Cropsey and trying to get something for these kids. If you got $1, bless you.
Thank you.
100, bless you. Everybody is equal.
And I've already put those up on my personal page, and I've also put those up on the Mystery Gang page and Haunting the Afterlife radio page. So you have all the support and love from me, and I will keep pushing this. I'll keep pushing this until we get everything done.
Thank you
so much.
And also, as Brian said, if you need to get a hold of these ladies for whatever and you can't, you can also contact us at haunting_the_afterlife@yahoo.com. So that's our email. So if you want to get in touch with them, but you can't for some reason, you can contact us instead at that email address. I'm sorry, Julie B, that you missed the show, but we'll have the archive up soon. You don't want to miss the show. It's been a fabulous show. And on that note, I mean, I really think we're done, guys. Is there anything else that we want to cover really quick?
Just that we love y'all.
Yeah, thank you. And you guys have a great show.
Wow.
So,
oh, thank you.
You really do. It's such a great, laid back, and it just makes you feel like you're just sitting in your living room and talking.
Yes.
And that's what I love.
You know,
and I'll put your guys' links on my personal page and my paranormal page. So
thank you.
And I'm gonna donate too.
Yeah, and I'll do the same. But that means so much that you guys say that because, you know, we've just got started.
They're the best shows.
I mean, we were on a different network, and now we're doing our own thing, and it's hard, like just starting over on your own, and to have you say something like that means so much to us because we put so much hard work into this, and we love our guests, and we honor our guests. And so we definitely want to thank you, ladies, from the bottom of our hearts for coming on. And what I really want to do really quick in the future, of course, I want to have the three of you back on, but I also want to have, Julie, I would like to have you back on too in the future on your own talking about Horsefly Chronicles, or maybe we could have your husband on.
I mean, I would love for both to come on. It's hard with the kids, but if he can't, if you know, he definitely should come on if we can't do it together.
And then you know, I would also like to have Rachel on whatever she wants to talk about, and then Vanessa to catch up on, you know, all of the fabulous stuff that you're doing. So have you guys all on individually too. So, you know, and then
thank you.
You name the time.
I love you guys. All right, everyone. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed the show. And as always, I'm going to say love and light and peace.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.